Hey, what's up, bros? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video. It's Bro Vinny here. Today we are talking about a main skill cooking power up S. We're going to talk about when it's good to use it, how it works, whether it's stackable, and how the final pot size is calculated if we also take into account Sunday end of week bonus, as well as the good camp ticket. So first of all, how does it actually work? Every time this main skill triggers, the next time you cook, your pot size will increase by any of these numbers, dependent on what level the main skill is. And then that will get used up, and you'll have to trigger again if you want to increase your pot size again. If you happen to not cook for the next session, you can build up this pot increase. Now, for example, if I have a Magnemite that triggered a level 1 of this main skill twice, then the next time I cook will get 14 pot size increase. But there is a limit. The total pot size that you can get as a limit is 200. So this is a limit that was introduced because some people's games started to bug out earlier on, and the developers had to introduce this limit so as not to break the game. So in other words, the maximum number of ingredients you can ever put in a pot is 200. Now, this skill is really quite useful if your bag space is always maxed out and overflowing. And that would happen if you have a lot of Pokemon that are ingredient specialists with large inventories. But is this skill actually any good? And to understand that, you have to also know how dish strength is calculated in this game. So if you don't already know, you should watch this video here that I've done in the past. And just to reference the formula again, this is the formula for calculating the actual dish strength. But the conclusion is basically that if you were to cook a dish, so a recipe dish, in other words, meeting the minimum requirements to create a certain dish, then you get the most out of an ingredient. Because that ingredient not only will get area bonus, it will also get level bonus, and just being a recipe itself get a recipe bonus. However, if you were to add ingredients as extra ingredients on top of the dish requirements, those extra ingredients only get area bonus. In other words, you're going to get a lot more value from increasing pot size if you're cooking a recipe that you can't normally create because you don't have a big enough pot. If you're just filling up the pot with extra ingredients, you're not going to get as much value. And just as a point of comparison, what I've done is compared it to Charge Strength M. And after I've done some maths, it turns out that it's situational whether cooking Power Up S beats Charge Strength M. Under sort of very basic circumstances where you're just dropping in extra ingredients, like really weak extra ingredients like sausages, for example, that are only worth about 100 points, 100 strength per sausage, it would be significantly worse than triggering Charge Strength M instead. On the other hand, if you were to drop Slowpoke Tails, and of course you really shouldn't be using Slowpoke Tails as an extra ingredient unless you have a huge excess of it, you should be using Slowpoke Tails in an actual dish so that you can get level bonus and the recipe bonus. But let's say you have an overflowing number of Slowpoke Tails, you can actually outdo Charge Strength M by a lot. So I did some simple maths here. I basically compared level 6 of each skill, ignoring area bonus because both skills will get the same area bonus. And I assumed that with a 27 pot size increase at level 6, if you drop the Slowpoke Tails for 300 points each, you're going to get a total of 8,100 strength per trigger, whereas Charge Strength M in comparison will only drop 4,500 strength per trigger. Whereas if you use some lower tier ingredients, which is only about 100 to 200 extra strength per ingredient, excluding Slowpoke Tail or any of the rare ingredients, you're only going to get about 4,000, which is a bit less. But all of this ignores the fact that you could be using a real recipe with your increased pot size. So if the extra ingredients are used to make a specific recipe, not just to top up the pot, then you'll also get some extra bonuses, which because of the level bonus and the recipe bonus can quickly outdo Charge Strength M. But, of course, this comparison assumes that you have an overflowing amount of ingredients, otherwise it wouldn't work because Charge Strength M is a free trigger, it doesn't consume any of your resources, whereas this skill does. So considering that at level 30 and 60 ingredient unlocks on any Pokemon increases the number of ingredients dropped per trigger, at a later stage of the game, this will outdo Charge Strength M, so Cooking Power Up will become more important. And just as an example, I'm going to refer to this beautiful chart here made by Ditto Wave. If you hypothetically have Absol unlocked at level 3 ingredients, it can drop 12 apples every trigger. And that's a crazy amount of apples. In fact, it is the biggest amount of apple drop in the game. Without a good pot size, there's no way you'll be able to keep up with the ingredient drops from Absol. But of course, Absol is just an extreme example. If we take another common Pokemon instead, so for example Charizard, it will drop 6 fiery herbs every trigger, which is still a lot unless you have Cooking Power Up. So what other ways are there to increase the pot size? So besides Cooking Power Up S, there are 3 other ways you can increase your pot size. One is actually just increasing your base pot size, which is done here when you click this pot icon, but you will be capped depending on the Sleep Styles goals that you've met. So I just recently made it to 150 Sleep Styles, and now I'm capped at 39 pot size. And this information is from Serebii.net. Every time you unlock a Sleep Style goal, you'll be able to increase the pot size 2 times. And it's 3 extra ingredients each time. So for me, at 150 Sleep Styles, I'm at this level. Once I make it to 190 Sleep Styles, I'll be able to have 45 ingredients in the pot. The other way you can increase your pot size is by using a camp ticket. This way you'll increase the pot size by 50%, but the catch is that your helpers will be working 20% faster so that your bag space will still fill up. So if you're actually overflowing with ingredients, this might not help. And the last way to increase pot size is on Sunday. It's called the end of week bonus, which basically doubles your current pot size. So now the question is, how is pot size calculated? Because we get a 50% bonus from the ticket, we get a 100% bonus from the end of week bonus, and then we get additional bonuses from the Cooking Power Up S. Now this research is done by Husky. Thank you for submitting this result. And now we know how the numbers are calculated for increasing pot size. So this is how it works. Husky has allowed his Pokemon to trigger the Cooking Power Up skill twice. So this is actually 10 times 2, giving a plus 20 main skill pot size increase, showing that you can stack the pot size. But the end of week bonus is still plus 33, so it only doubles your base pot size. However, what is interesting is that the Good Camp ticket is giving this huge bonus for pot size. And if you remember from earlier, I said that Good Camp ticket gives 50% bonus. How is this possible? So the way that the Good Camp ticket calculates the increase in pot size actually works like this. You first take the base pot strength, which is 33, and then you add in the end of week bonus, which makes it 66. Then you add the main skills as well, which gives you 86, and you can now see where I'm going with this. Then the Good Camp ticket will take 50% of the final pot size of all of that, then add on top, which is a massive increase compared to if it only took the base pot size and just added 50%. This will then give a whopping 129 pot size on Sunday with 2 skill procs. And just to show that even without the Sunday bonus. This will hold true. You can do the numbers yourself now. If you add 33 to the main skills, which is 20, 53, well, an extra 50% of that is plus 27. So in other words, Cooking Power Up S is actually affected by Good Camp Ticket. You get an additional 50% extra pot size for every skill trigger if you're running a Good Camp Ticket. Now, also don't forget that because Sunday is 3 times the power if you get a critical cook, your extra ingredients will be worth more on a Sunday. And it's my personal opinion that critical cooking happens more frequently on a Sunday. So the final tip here is that once you hit 6 p.m. on the Sunday, don't cook immediately for the dinner. If you can let your Magnemite or your Cooking Power Up S Pokemon trigger the main skill a few more times before cooking, and you're lucky enough to get critical cook, the value of your ingredients will be worth a lot more. And that's all I have to say for today, guys. I'll put links to my referenced material in the description below. And thank you to Husky for helping out with this research. If this video helped you, please leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.